Today is my 5 favorite things tech edition. And by tech, I don't actually know what I mean by that. So I don't know what the real definition of tech is. So the definition I'm going to use is everything in this list requires either some type of charge to be put on it, or it requires an app for it to use, or it has to be plugged in some way. Hey there, and welcome to the Digital Nomad Family Podcast. This is the place where families who have or want to have a nomadic lifestyle come together to talk about the highs and lows that this life brings. We celebrate the joys and support each other in the hard. So, if you are a digital nomad family, or will be in the future, this is the place for you. We're glad you're here. Hey guys, Marissa here from Family of Dashes, and I am looking forward to this episode because we are continuing in kind of a fast episode longer series, if that makes sense. So it's a 6-part series, but each episode in it is a little bit shorter than our normal episode. I'm trying to keep these kind of short and quick and just give you the information so that you can get on with your day. And I'm really looking forward to this particular episode because kind of like the last episode, this actually is pushing me out of my comfort zone. And I think it's good to be pushed outside of your comfort zone. Not all the time, but occasionally. And today is my 5 favorite things tech edition. And by tech, I don't actually know what I mean by that. So I don't know what the real definition of tech is. So the definition I'm going to use is everything in this list requires either some type of charge to be put on it, or it requires an app for it to use, or it has to be plugged in some way. And so I hope that makes sense. You're probably going to hear some of these things and go, I don't see how that's tech. When I was telling my husband, Eric, what this list was, the very first thing he goes, that's tech? Yeah, I guess kind of it is. So again, welcome to an episode of Does Marissa Know What She's Doing? We'll just stick with that. So I figured we would kind of get, last episode and this episode kind of done with, so then I can get back to my comfort zone of things I actually really understand. When it comes to apps and technology, I learn the bare minimum, I feel, and then I ask Eric to learn the rest, and then I just take it on faith. So you're really going to get a deep dive into what I know, which is, that's fun. Before we get started, though, I have a huge shout out to a woman named Kate, and Kate left a beautiful review over on iTunes. And I tell you guys, if you leave a review, I will read it. And it doesn't have to be a 5-star review. I want honesty. I want to do this for you. And if you think that there's something I can and should do better, please tell me. I want to create a podcast that you want to listen to and that is going to be helpful. So over on iTunes, Kate said this: Marissa and her family of dashes take us along on their digital nomad adventures. The podcast shares great info for her family travel, homeschooling/world schooling, and how to experience other cultures through immersion. Marissa is great about pointing out that certain things work for her family and that each family is unique. She encourages us to seek out what works for us and to share. Love them on Instagram too. Kate, thank you so much for that review. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad to hear that my passion for each family being unique is coming through. That is my, it's a huge goal of mine to help each family figure out what works best for them. Because just because like even if you take this series we're in right now, just because these are my 5 favorite tech or app or clothing doesn't mean that they're going to work for other people. And that's okay. And so I'm really happy to hear that is coming through in the podcast. So thank you so much for that. If you are getting any value out of this podcast, I would really love a review. It helps iTunes see that this is a serious podcast, that people are listening to it, and it helps the algorithm, guru things to show it to other people. So if you could just take a minute and leave a rating, and especially a review, I would truly appreciate it. And I will read it here on a podcast episode. So thank you, Kate. You are wonderful. And I really, really appreciate it. So with that being said, let's jump in to my 5 favorite things tech edition. Now, like I said, the first one had Eric scratching his head a little bit about why is this a tech item? And it's RocketBook Notebooks. And if you don't know what RocketBook Notebooks are, then you are just like me about maybe 2 years we've been using these things now. They are magic. I'm holding one right now in my hand. You might hear me fiddling with it. What they are is a notebook that you write on. You have to use special pens, but the special pens you use really are not that much more expensive than just any other pen. So I don't think that is a deal breaker. You write on it, and then you scan it with an app that they have, and it goes wherever you tell it to. And they're wonderful. You can have it go so many different places in cloud-based platforms that you can keep your stuff organized. You can send it to like GoodNotes. You can send it to Evernote. Or no, you can't send it to GoodNotes maybe. I can't remember now. But you can send it to Evernote. You can send it to just iCloud. Usually we just send it straight to iCloud. I find for my family that works the easiest. We used to use Evernote and send it to Evernote, but now we don't do that anymore. But after you have written on it, you've taken the picture and scanned it and sent it wherever you want it to go, you can erase the page. And the reason I really, really appreciate this is because as a nomadic family, I don't want to keep buying notebooks with just regular paper over and over and over again. Because one, they're heavy. And to expect my kids to carry a notebook for every subject is not going to work. And so with this, they can have a note. They can just have one. They each have one. And they write their school notes. They mark. The bottom of the pages have several. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, I'm holding it in my hand right now. 7 little symbols. And so you can have 7, you set it up in their app, in the RocketBook app, that like if I mark the diamond on the bottom, it's going to go to iCloud to a folder marked science. So if my kids are taking notes for science, they take their science notes, they mark whatever image is connected to science, they take the picture, and it goes to a folder on their iPad in the iCloud. Here I said the iCloud. Guys, this is so like not me, but I promise you, it's so easy. If I can do it, I promise you anyone can. And if you need a notebook, I love paper and pencil. Like I like to physically write things. It's probably no surprise to anyone hearing me like talk about stuff. Like, yes, I'm a little old fashioned. And so I like making my grocery list on a piece of paper and taking that to the store. And so I have like a smaller one. My kids have a big normal size notebook one. I have kind of a small, like bigger than a memo, like a little memo pad, but smaller than a notebook. And I use it to make my grocery list, and then I can take it with me. Or I could, take a picture of it on my phone and scan it, whatever, but I'm an old person, so I don't do that. I just take it with me. But then I can erase it, and it's gone, and I can keep using the same notebook. I think these are amazing. If you are a journaler and you want to be able to like journal, like you really like to write a journal, this is fantastic for you as a traveler because you only need one. And then you can just write your journal, you scan it, it can go to wherever you want it to go, and you can erase it. They're magic. I seriously am so glad that we have these things. We use them for school, we use them for personal things. We're just always constantly, give me a RocketBook, give me a RocketBook. They're used daily in our house. So that's the first one. Number 2 of my 5 favorite things is Ancher Portable Chargers. Now, every packing list that you are going to read or watch on YouTube or listen to on a podcast is going to talk about Ancher Portable Chargers, Ancher, some people might call them power banks, whatever word you use. It's something that you plug it in, it gets a bunch of power inside of it. Then when you're traveling or when your power goes out, you can plug your iPad in or anything that takes, as long as you can plug it into a USB. So like I couldn't charge my computer with it because I don't have like a USB charger for my computer, but my phone or an iPad or really anything else, headphones, you plug it in, Kindle, whatever. You just plug it in and it gets power then and you're good to go. These are great. And the reason I am highlighting this is because I used to think, why does everyone talk about Ancher? Because they're kind of expensive. They're not super expensive, but they are on the pricier side. And they're heavy. Like we are ultra light people. And these like are bricks. It's like a literal brick. They're not lightweight things. And my kids all have a bigger one because I just have a small one because I am just using my phone. But my kids have iPads, and so they kind of need more charge for that. So they have bigger ones. So why is it worth it? Because it's worth it. Not only for travel days when you are going to be on a long airplane ride or you're going to be on a long bus or train or something like that, you're going to have to be able to charge things. And you're not always going to have the option to plug in. I've been on multiple planes where it was an updated plane. I really felt like I should have been able to use a USB port and either it just wasn't working or for whatever reason, my seat just didn't have one. And I would have bet money on the fact that this plane going into it would have had a charger for me, but it didn't. And so I do believe that Ancher gets the hype because it's not just like a cool thing to like. The product is amazing. So if you need, and I suggest having some type of backup battery like this, because you are going to be in a place where your power goes out. When we were in Istanbul, the power went out constantly. Like it was just a joke. Now it didn't stay out for long. And so even if my phone did die, I only had to put up with it for a little bit, but it was nice to be able to just plug it into a portable charger if I needed to. And I was good to go. And then because of the fact that these, the Ancher ones are just so well made, they're going to last a long time. My kids have dropped them. Like I have, my kids are kids. Like I have a 10-year-old boy. He has dropped this thing. Currently, the house we're in right now has bunk beds. I have heard an Ancher charger fall from the top of a bunk bed. Totally fine. Now, I'm not suggesting that you go out and test a battery bank to see how far can I drop it. I'm not suggesting that. I had a conversation with the kid afterwards, like, hey, maybe not have it leaning on the bed like that up so high. So I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying my kids have put these wonderful things through the ringer and they're holding up great. So I think that Ancher gets the hype because it's hype worthy. They have a lot of different sizes that you can get. We have the smaller and the bigger. So I think they're both great. So I would suggest that. Number 3 is Logitech iPad covers. And the reason that these I think are tech is because you have to connect them to your iPad and it you type on it. The ones that we have, they are my favorite iPad cover of all iPad covers. And I have a link to them in the show notes. I actually have a link to everything I'm talking about in the show notes. So go ahead and check them out and you can see them. The ones that we have, the iPad goes in the case, and then there is a keyboard that you can connect to it, and then that closes, and then the iPad is completely covered, like for travel days, that kind of stuff, when you have it in a backpack or something nice and safe. Then when you just want to use it as an iPad, you just take the keyboard off. And not only are these genuinely good cases, like my kids' iPads have been super well protected. And that was kind of my question about when we first got these. Like, is this more of a, I'm turning my iPad into a computer, but it's not going to be well protected thing? And so far, and we have 3 of them, and we've used them for 2 years now. And so far, holding up great. No complaints. I think they're amazing. The reason we got the ones we got and the ones I have linked in the show notes is because it has a trackpad. And I think it's really important for our kids to learn how to use a computer, not just a tablet. I do think learning how to use a tablet is important because tablets aren't going away and touchscreen is here to stay. So do I think learning to use a tablet is important? Yes. However, I also think typing is not going away. And I don't think computer usage and computer skills is going to go away. And so these Logitech cases, I mean, if you click on the link, you're going to see they're not the cheapest things. They're not. They're an investment. But it really does turn your iPad into a computer. And so my kids now have their tablet for games and shows and whatnot, for entertainment. But now when they attach that keyboard and they sit down at the table to do their school, they basically have a computer. And I am really glad that we got the ones with the trackpad. My husband, Eric, I don't know why I say my husband to you guys. I mean, I talk about him enough, but I always feel like I have to preface. Eric has one without a trackpad, and anytime I have to use it, I give him a hard time. Like, I'm like, why don't you have a good one? Like, I mostly am just kidding, but really I'm not. I really like the Logitech iPad covers with the trackpad. So if you need, and they have them for different size iPads and everything like that. So check them out. Make sure you get the right one. Just because I have it linked, to one doesn't mean that it's going to fit your iPad. So please check that before you just go and buy it. So that's number 3. Number 4 is a hotspot, and we have a Glocal Me. Now, I'm going to level with y'all. I don't really know much about it, but here's what I do know. Hotspots are not new. They have been around for a long time. In fact, fun little story here. When Eric and I first got married, a hotspot was our internet. We had a Verizon device. Oh, I wish I could remember the name of it. Oh, darn. This is why I just shouldn't go on tangents here because I can't remember. But I know for sure it was a Verizon device. And we lived in the country, in Ohio, in the sticks. And we would have to set it up in a window to make it work. That was our internet because we couldn't have any other internet. And so I mean, that was 13 years ago, 13 or 14 years ago. I don't remember how long we've been married. That was back in 2009. So that many years they've been around. So hotspots aren't anything new. I don't really know much about this one. Here's what I do know about it. I like the way it works because you go onto their website and you kind of buy a data package. And this works really well for us because our hotspot is solely backup. We make sure that we are in an apartment or a house with really great Wi-Fi. We have them test it before we come because with 6 people all on the internet at one time, 4 of them having to do school and 1 of them having to work full time, we have to have good internet. So this is solely a backup. If you need a hotspot where you are constantly using it, I would not recommend a Glocal Me because I do think it's more on the expensive side. But I really like how you go on, you buy your data package, and then it works. I don't know how. Please don't ask me how. Please be nice to me about this. I don't really understand it, but I know that it's good. I know this is the one we have, and we have used it. You can connect a lot of devices, like I think up to 16. Don't hold me to that, but it's really, really a lot. And so I feel like 16 devices is a lot of devices that you can connect to something, and that's good because we have a lot of devices because, 6 people. So if you need a hotspot solely for backup, again, if you are going to use this on a daily basis, I do not think a GlocalMe is the way to go. I think it's too expensive. But if you need it just for that, oh crap, the power's out and you need to do work, I think it's good. Check it out. It doesn't take a local SIM card. Like you don't need any of that, which is really nice. Because in some countries, it's really hard to get a local SIM card. And so that was kind of a requirement for us in buying a hotspot. Some of them do take a local SIM card, and we just didn't want that. So this one, there's no SIM card or anything. It's in your house. It's wonderful. And then last but not least, headphones. And you're asking, why is headphones in tech? Because if it's Bluetooth, you have to charge it. And that made the criteria for tech. So let's talk headphones really, really quickly. Headphones are extremely personal, not meaning private, meaning individual. And I think this is something that you really need to ask, what do I want in a pair of headphones? There's kind of like, I guess, 4 categories, if you will. You can get the over-the-ear wireless. You can get in-ear wireless, or you can get the old-fashioned kind that are wired, and that you can get either over the ear or in the ear. And then there are kids. Now, I know that was kind of a lot of information, but you people are smart. You're smarter than me when it comes to this, I promise you. So I think you could follow along. You have to ask, what does each person in my family need? When we first started out, we got all of our kids the same exact headphones. Big mistake. Not mistake. What word? Learning opportunity. And here's why. Everyone has different likes when it comes to like their body, as far as I don't like things being in my ears, or I don't like tight things on my head. And so you just have to ask, what do you like the feel of? And also, are there any like lifestyle issues that you might need to overcome? By that, I mean, one of our kids, Ryan, has pretty severe trouble on airplanes with his ears. Now, we have come up with kind of our way to deal with it, and as he gets older, it is getting better. But one of the major ways that he deals with it is he wears, they're called airplane earplugs or something like that. They are specialized earplugs that help your ears like stay open and you don't hurt on the airplane. Well, and he has to wear them. You don't have to wear them the whole flight, but he does because it helps him feel better. And so whatever, it's totally fine. So because he's wearing already earplugs in his ears, he needs over the ear headphones. Our other kids, they don't have to wear special earplugs, so they could have in-ear if they like it. And so you just have to ask, what do I prefer? I'm actually, you people are going to laugh at me. I'm actually very old-fashioned. Shocking, I know, right? And I prefer in-ear with a wire. Like I just want to plug into my phone. I don't want to have to deal with Bluetooth or anything, or like charging headphones. I plug it into my phone, I stick them in my ears, and I'm good to go. I do know that I prefer like a softer tip. Like if it's a hard tip, like the newer like Apple ones, I don't love those, but that's just me. I'm not saying that, it's a bad product. I don't like a hard plastic thing in my ear. I prefer like a soft part. So you just have to ask, what do you prefer? Because this is something you'll probably spend, and your kids will probably spend a significant amount of time interacting with. And it's tech because it has to be charged if it's Bluetooth. So I have multiple different headphones linked in the show notes that I really like the company JBL. We have one of their small wireless speakers, and it's amazing. And we are planning to get many of their headphones for Christmas gifts. So don't tell my kids. And so I think it's a great company. And so while we don't currently own any of their headphones right now, we do have a product of theirs and no complaints. So we're going to stick with that brand and see how it goes. They also have kid size over the ear Bluetooth headphones. And I just really like, making sure that things fit the kids well. So headphones, I think, like I said, you just have to think, what does each person in my family need we literally went on Amazon and got like a 6-pack of headphones, and we just said, here, everyone go. And we've learned that maybe that's not the best way. Maybe think about what each person needs. So with that being said, guys, those are my 5 favorite things tech edition. And I hope that you learned something. I hope that I didn't make a complete fool of myself trying to talk about tech with you. I know I'm not the smartest person when it comes to this. But all of the links are in the show notes. And if it's an Amazon link, just so you guys know, I'm not associated with any of these brands. Like, they're not sponsoring. Like, these are my real opinions. I like these products. But all of the links, if you click through and you buy it, we do get a small percentage of the sale. It doesn't cost anything more for you. The cost is the same. I just get a little kickback. So if you buy something, thank you. Also, I want to say again, Kate, thank you so much for your beautiful review. I really view it as an honor that you listen and that you are hearing my passion for each family, finding what works for them. That's really important to me. So, like I said before, guys, if you have a minute, head on over and leave a rating and review. It really does help. And with that, that's all. That's all for this one. We're going to be done. And if you have anything to add about your favorite tech items, pop over to Instagram. Link is in the show notes to our family page, Family of Dashes. Or you can send me an email. Just go to the show website and just let me know, what do you like? And I love learning from people. All of the stuff that I've mentioned here, I learned from someone else. So I would find it a huge honor if you were to share with me some of your favorite things. So thank you, guys. I hope that you're doing well. And I really, really pray and hope you continue to travel joyfully.